Welcome to a new update. It has been a week since I've been posting. Today we talk about the altcoins as this market is currently consolidating. At least most of the markets are consolidating. Some are doing great. Some specific altcoins have been running up, like Tau has been doing great. Rune has been doing great. We're going to talk about the altcoin markets. We're going to look at the overall landscape of the markets. And we're going to have an outlook for the upcoming week, as well as I think that this week is granting up dips for altcoins, and it feels uncertain whether or not we're going to continue having the downwards fall. But there are arguments on the macroeconomic playing field why Bitcoin continues to run in the coming period, which means that if Bitcoin even consolidates or goes flat, altcoins are still the play. Because when Bitcoin volatility starts to increase, that's when you want to swap towards Bitcoin instead of having altcoins specifically. And at this point, we can see that altcoins are still continuing to do really well. But before we continue, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and also make sure to check out our other social media platforms where I'm posting content, especially on X. Also going to do that on Instagram, but on X I'm doing it a lot. And there has not been an update for the past week, as unfortunately, like everybody, I've had I was ill for the past week, which was called Corona a few years ago, but now it's just being ill. And I was able to walk on the street and go into shops and stuff. Anyway, we've launched our consultancy program, which is a portfolio program, but also if you want to know more about trading or learn more about trading your own portfolio, assistance on your portfolio, guidance through the entire cycle. So we've got packages for the entire year where we construct a portfolio for you and we assist you on that portfolio, so you know without any fear how to trade the markets for the upcoming year and can generate a positive return while still having a relaxing life. That's what we do within the packages of the consultancy. We have started with those since a few weeks. Our target portfolios are running since the 1st of September. The low risk has been doing 31%. The high risks has been doing plus 38%. You could question why is that the case, or why is the difference not that big? Well, high risk contains a little bit more of altcoins, of course, and some have been delayed as Bitcoin has been the core focus of the run for a long time. So I think these percentages are going to be skewed at some point. But anyway, 38% if you are into high risk, 31% into low risk, and anything in between for the medium risk portfolio since the 1st of September. And of course we update this on a weekly basis. Additionally, we can do some hours with you as well. I can talk to you too. I do the packages, I do the programs. We've designed them with the team. And it's more or less like portfolio management / asset management. So if you're interested into that, make sure to check the link in the description where you can find more information on this specific topic. When we talk about the markets, I think I'm going to give you an overview on the markets as a whole. First of all, we've got Bitcoin, which I have been updating the past week, in which I said there is a pivotal resistance, and the pivotal resistance is found at 38k, right? So what do we have at this point? I think at this point we have a case where the markets are clearly into an uptrend. So we are making higher highs, higher lows. Bull market is activated. We buy the dips until proven otherwise. And then there is the case that people are saying, yes, but 2020. But 2020, we had a bull cycle and the market started to trend upwards, and then Corona started to kick in which we crashed downwards. Even actually should have only been retesting 6k, but you crashed downwards to mid-max, and then we continued the upwards momentum. I think the more valuable one is to look at the 2015-2016 case, in which we are in such a consolidation prior towards another halving or another pre-halving breakout. Which has been taking place here. So we're into this consolidation. Perhaps we're somewhere here, or what you could say out of it. And then we're going to have a pre-halving breakout again, or we got a spot ETF breakout. So we are at that stage, and I think we're at the stage where accumulation is largely over. you're still going to have reaccumulation periods, but if you want to be positioned to altcoins to have a 200, 300x, you should already be in, and that doesn't feel comfortable. At this point, we've seen with Bitcoin that we've ran from 26k towards 38k. 38k is the next resistance zone because that's the pivot where we started to crash in April of 2022. So we are back towards that level, in which during this period we had a support level. You can also see it as resistance back in January 2021, resistance of this sideways structure in the correction during the summer, and then we broke to the upside. And then we rested on it for a little bit. So this is a big one. And given the fact that we're currently having the first two tests of this level, it is not expected to break it in one go. So given that we've just been testing it and we've got a somehow bearish divergence, I think we're going to have a case of at least something like this where we consolidate, come back down, or we have something like this where we consolidate, go sideways, and then have another breakout before the actual correction starts to take place. So at this point, I think we are keen to have a breakout above 38k pre-ETF launch, pre-ETF approval, but now we're in a window of a few weeks where there is no confirmation of an ETF, hence why it takes a little bit longer to have more continuation, but I think we cannot complain with the current strength of the markets. When we're looking at the rest, I think the dollar is currently reversing trend very clearly. We have been taking the high here, which I marked, rejected that level again, and now we continue to fall down. So if the dollar rejects here again, or even here in this entire area, I suspect that we continue the downwards fall, especially with the Fed stopping the interest rate hikes, or likely, because PPI came in as a negative number month to month. It is very likely that we're going to finish off here, and we've got a bearish divergence on the monthly for the 10-year yields. This month we've seen a drop from 4.9 to 4.4. So I think that this is going to continue to fall, and especially since we've got the data here where we can see that we've got a gigantic bearish divergence on a weekly time frame for the 2-year yields, which peaked out here at October 2023, September 2023. But actually, we've had the first real peak that was in October 2022, and then we just consolidated. So since then, we basically remained flat. And I think the size is relatively small, but we've had two cases of a period of increased interest rates, which was in 2017, 2018, and which is now. The last time we peaked was the bottom of the Bitcoin bear market in 2018. This time we peaked basically, and we consolidated after that. We still had some sort of periods upwards, but we also had this period. So the heaviness of the run was over, or the most impact has been done. And it marked the bottom again. So if this starts to fall south again, which I think is very likely given the fact that the impact will be heavy into the economy, and especially since this bearish divergence, I think we are facing another argument that the Bitcoin bull cycle will start to take place. So gold is also still doing pretty much fine. This weekly is very positive, so that means to me that if Bitcoin is going to have some more consolidation as it is right now, I think it's just a matter of time before we start to break out. Now, what are the overall markets doing? Total market cap at this point just consolidating. So within an upwards trend, as you can see, you've got periods of sideways action. Nothing bad. I think we just continue to go, especially if you look at the weekly time frame. Here is your first real resistance zone. So we still have some periods to go. We are at 1.35 trillion, and I think the next run is going to be either 1.8 or perhaps even 2.1, but we're making higher lows, higher highs. The total 2, pretty much clearly the same, is facing the final resistance. So at this point, we might even have a further corrective move taking place as we're currently fighting this resistance point. If that breaks, you can suspect that altcoins are going to run all the way from 674 towards 1 trillion. So basically, if there is going to be a correction taking place on this chart, which I use as a reference for my investments, so if we have another correction of, let's say, 8 to 12% on most of the altcoins, especially ETH, I guess, if that happens, then and we get towards this level, which I'm not sure whether we get, but if we get it, that is your trigger to buy. What should you buy? I think you should be buying into assets that are trending the heaviest or are the strongest and can yield the highest returns for yourself. So things like Injective, Solana, all those coins that have been running pretty well. Although right now we can see that the shift is towards some older altcoins that are currently trending heavily too. So at this point, the total 2 is on the edge of having the breakout. And you can compare this towards Bitcoin at 30K, which broke through as well. And then the acceleration started to take place. So we're on the edge of having it. I don't think we are going to, don't think that we're going to have that much of a correction, but it shows you a lot. Total 3, basically the same view. Bitcoin dominance is following the plan. Perhaps we could still have some more upside when it comes to the Bitcoin dominance, especially if the ETF of Bitcoin is going to get approved, which has a short window of more upside on the Bitcoin dominance as everything is going to be focused on Bitcoin. And then the focus shifts towards ETH after that, as ETH has a spot ETH ETF as well. What am I interested in to buy at this point? Well, we've got Solana, we've got Injective. But if you look at older altcoins at this stage, for instance, Avalanche, those have started to run substantially too. So what you're looking at is that you're looking at assets that are still in the range of consolidation here. And there are many. Avalanche is having the first push and then it corrects and then the rotation games happens, which also is currently the case for Solana. Solana has had a pretty heavy breakout and is currently consolidating. And because it consolidates, people lose interest into the asset and the money goes from Solana towards another one, which is currently starting to run. So you can see a lot of projects, and even Curve is one of them that has not been moving at all. And you can see in the chart that there is no momentum at all on these yet. And there are many of them that have not been running at all yet. If you look at Algorand, and I'm currently looking at the perpetual, Avalanche is already here in this resistance zone. So if Algorand is going to put up the actual game here, you're going to look at a run towards 40 to 50 cents. And there are many of them. And I think you just need to scan those charts, pick your coins, buy them. Don't be afraid of a dip and just enjoy the ride because it will stay here for a little while. I'll see you again on Tuesday. Ciao.